Hello and welcome back to No Apologies, the podcast where we give you the raw, the real, and how we feel. We are your hosts. My name is Mo.
And my name is Casey.
Let's get into it.
Well, this is the second time that this article has surfaced. The owner of the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, an article has surfaced with pictures of him outside of school with a bunch of other racist children trying to keep black children from getting an education. Stopping black children from attending his school. This is exactly why they don't want critical race theory taught in school. Because in the history books, you would have Jerry Jones, him still young Jerry Jones, stopping black children from getting an education. It's just so coincidental to me and ironic that Jerry Jones, who is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, which is called America's Team, is shown stopping black people from getting an education. What's more American than that?
Honestly, when it comes to the critical race theory, not only are they afraid to see their grandparents, aunts, and uncles because Ruby Bridges is alive and well and looking healthy, but also the accountability aspect. How far back do they go? How deep do they go? It's really how embarrassing should we make white people? But they're pushing not to teach it because of the simple fact of how do we explain this? Because we're still reaping the benefits of white privilege. We're still reaping the benefits of slavery. We're still reaping the benefits of Christopher Columbus discovering America. So if you're gonna tell the truth at all, you should tell the whole truth.
And that is my point. Because if you talk about the boycotts of the 65-year-old photo that was captured outside of a civil rights movement. This is like there's no Photoshop. This is definitely Jerry Jones. If you talk about that, then what else do you have to discuss? So the Phoenix Suns owner was forced to sell his team because of racial slurs and misogynistic things. Donald Sterling was forced to sell the Clippers because of his racial slurs and basically the same thing Jerry Jones is doing. But because the NBA has a much, much stronger union than the NFL, there will be no backlash from this because if those men were held accountable for their past actions and forced to sell their team because they said having these men be owners of an NBA franchise damages our brand, why isn't the same thing being done about Jerry Jones and quote-unquote America's team?
Well, the thing is, if you hold one accountable, you have to hold them all. We're still waiting on Carolyn Bryant to nut up and just go ahead and go on to jail in her final days. When she thought she was dying the first time, she admitted it was a lie. Why not live with it and stick to it? I mean, a lot of these black and white photos were changed to black and white later on so that it seemed like it was so long ago. Like, if you look at the timeline, it doesn't make sense. Like I said, Ruby Bridges was a child attending grade school, and she's still alive. Your aunties are probably older than her.
Yeah, but that's the point. Like this picture was taken in 1957. So I don't know. You can put the link up so they can see the picture, read the article themselves. Okay. Jerry Jones is clear, and I'll let you guys see his answer, and you guys leave in the comments how you guys feel about his response to being questioned about, hey, what was that all about? My question is not for Jerry Jones because there's no doubt that that's Jerry Jones doing it. My question is more or less for the so-called NFL commissioner. What are they going to do about this? What is Roger Goodell going to do about this? Because if this isn't damaging to the brand, if this isn't damaging to quote-unquote America's team, then what is? We had the Colin Kaepernick situation. We'll never know what those owners said about Colin Kaepernick because they paid him. We had the thing with the Raiders. Well, this is why Flores in Miami with Belichick texting the wrong guy, congratulating him for the job. This is what I mean about the NFL is making it hard to watch because of the racism that is continued in traffic through the league and nothing's being done about it.
And one thing that I feel like the newer generations are catching on to. Things like this aren't just birth. You're not born a racist. You're taught this. This is a learned behavior. And even for Jerry Jones at a young age, that means his parents are racist. And just like the Colorado shooter that shot up the homosexual nightclub, they asked the father, and he said, "I'm a Mormon, I'm a conservative Republican, and we don't do gay." So if that's how you feel and that's how you're teaching your child, what would you expect?
Yeah, that was our thoughts and prayers go because we're out here in Colorado. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families in Colorado Springs. That was a just another tragedy, and it's so silly that people keep saying that it's the guns, it's the guns. No, it's the people with the guns. Moving on to the best example I can have with separating church from state. I want to be clear on this, and this is not me making an opinion. You can look it up yourself. I want to just hear what you guys have to say about this. 88% of the evangelical vote in the state of Georgia for the Senate race, 88% went to Herschel Walker. Let that sink in for a second. Herschel Walker got 88% of the evangelical vote in the state of Georgia. Now, some of you who may not know or may not be aware of who the opponent is, but the opponent of Herschel Walker in Georgia is also a black man, but this is Pastor Warnock, who has been the senior pastor since 2005 at Atlanta's Ebenezer Baptist Church, the same church that Martin Luther King Jr. went to. And 88% of the Christians in Georgia said that Pastor Warnock, senior pastor, that's not the Christian values we're looking for. Our Christian values are with Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker checks because the only reason we bring this up, early voting has begun. To all our listeners in Georgia, make sure you get out there and vote. But I want to be clear on something with Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker checks every bad stereotype box for black men. He is accused of being a woman beater, paying for abortions, an absentee father, illiterate, uneducated, and a great athlete. And loud. He checks every box. So for the Republican Party to put him forward, it was a win-win situation. If he wins, they can say, hey, look, we got black people in the party. If he loses, he can say, see, this is why we never have black people in the party. They could not lose with this guy, and he is such an ignorant man.
I really don't have much to say on that. And Pastor One preached today at service, and he talked about hope. He talked about the Advent calendar, the candles, and the first one that was lit was for hope. And the Bible is clear: faith without works is dead. But I can only hope that the Georgians get out and they vote, not because of a party's affiliation, but because you've done the research, you know your moral compass, and you want what's best for your state.
This isn't about people getting out and voting. 1.9 million people in Georgia, 1.9 million, said Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker was the most qualified candidate for U.S. Senator. I wouldn't let Herschel Walker run a lemonade stand unattended. No, sir. I would not be comfortable with Herschel Walker running a lemonade stand. Running a football? Absolutely. Student body left, student body right, 32 dives? Yes, I'm giving it to Herschel. But if you're telling me, I thought it was funny that Barack Obama said that he was qualified. They said, Barack Obama said, if you're in the airport and you see Herschel Walker, Heisman Trophy winner, you are not saying, hey, let him fly the plane. Now, if you want to give him a 26 sweep, fine. But you're telling me that with all of the thing, and these things are alleged because we can't say certain things, but you do the research. My family has a saying, like, everybody can't be lying about the same thing. Herschel Walker has been accused of paying for abortions as contraceptive. That's a fact. Herschel Walker's son said he was an absentee father and was terrible. That, too, is a fact. Women have come out and said Herschel Walker has abused and beat them. That is a fact. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it has still been stated that that's what happened. He checks every bad box for black men: absentee father, woman beater, abortions, ignorant, loud, uneducated, and a great athlete.
And we got the best emissions in these gas guzzling cars.
I would.
But don't forget about China stealing all our good air and sending us the bad air.
I can't. Like between Herschel Walker and Ye. So Kanye West showed up, and this is for you people that keep telling me that I should be giving Kanye West a chance, and Kanye is doing the work of God. Kanye West showed up at Mar-a-Lago tonight at 45's dinner. I won't even give him, Fuentes. I wasn't going to say his name, but a Holocaust denier. And this is what I don't understand. I don't understand the method to the madness. I don't understand how a man is saying that he needs our support is cozying up to 45. I don't understand that. That's number one. This is the same dude who said 45 was his dad. I just want to be clear. Herschel Walker is the worst candidate for any job other than lemonade stand attendee under supervision, not the supervisor. He can only stand there and tell you what is for sale and accept your quarter. That is it. That is all. And Kanye West, stop telling me that he's an evil genius, because the things that he does makes zero sense as far as the black community. And while we're talking about the black community, let me say this. In Nigeria, they just passed a law that they will no longer have white or British models on their runways. They said that they have 200 million beautiful people, and that's who they're going to use to sell their products and goods. There was some backlash, people saying this was racist, this, that, and other. And I am so tired of when someone stands up and appreciates where they're from, it means that they're alienated where someone else is from. That is not what this means. What in the Nigerian I can't think of his name, but he's a great designer. He described it like this. He said that the black dollar is one of the most powerful dollars on the planet. We know that. We know that we buy a lot of stuff. He said he's making his clothes to be sold and appreciated by black people. So why not have black people in the clothes? That does not seem silly to me. That seems like not only a good marketing scheme, because you got people saying, well, she looks like me, and that's what I'll look like in it. That's what it sounds smart. It does not sound racist. He is for his people. That does not mean he's against any other.
And I completely kudos to him. Not only that, but we've talked about representation. If you follow me on TikTok, we've talked about the Tinky Poo diapers, where it shows representation. We have the small black Afro baby on the diapers. We have kente printed patterns on diapers as well. But also, when it came to Encanto, it's a Disney movie that came out a year or two ago, and it had the diaspora, the different colors of the ethnic background of Hispanic culture. And it showed little dark-skinned black children with curly hair and all these children that said, oh, he looks like me, she looks like me. Or Ariel being a black mermaid, how these little kids' face lit up. Representation matters. A lot of us, and I say us as in a black female, we tend to hide our true nature because we're worried about what society thinks, when society told us we weren't beautiful. We are just now getting into our natural hair culture. We are just now starting to accept our bodies how they are, regardless if you get a BBL or not. And we're finally learning to love us for us.
And that's the part that I don't understand. So they'll say that this is bad, where Sir Mix-a-Lot made millions of dollars off Baby Got Back because it was looked at as a thing of disgust. Yet and still, that's what everybody wanted. The reason we know that, because Dr. Miami is a millionaire now because he's been giving out the BBLs. Because everybody wants that look. So if I'm a designer and I'm designing jeans for women with big butts, I would want to use models with big butts. That only seems smart to me. So I am 1,000% in favor of the Nigerian country passing that law, because it just seems it only makes more business sense. But I believe that standing up for something does not mean that you are standing against something. And too many times, that's what's being pitted against people of other cultures. They say, "Hey, I'm for this," so that automatically means you're against that. That's what happened when the whole thing came out about the police brutality, and everyone started screaming, "Police lives matters," until he shot that Karen at the Capitol. Because then there was no support from the Blue Lives Matter people. It was, how could he do that? What a savage! So let's just be clear on something. Standing for something that you believe in, standing for something that you like, standing for something that you appropriate, does not mean that you're standing against anything. It means that you are standing, and hopefully, and one day we'll all be able to stand together. But until then, the fact that we need to still do things like this, the fact that like the Rooney Rule still exists and we still don't have any head black coaches in the NFL, and when they do give a black coach a head coaching job, it's always at a bad place. Like there's a lot of talk right now here in Colorado where Deion Sanders, the University of Colorado, CU, wants to speak to Deion Sanders about leaving Jackson State to come here. I'm gonna tell you what's wrong with that. First of all, the University of Colorado is trash. They are pure trash. They are one or two students away from being a D2 school. They're awful. Nobody wants to go there. Herm Edwards went to ASU. He had a much better program at ASU. They fired him. If Deion Sanders leaves Jackson State and comes to Colorado, if anybody is listening and knows Deion or Deion himself listening, Deion Sanders, do not leave Jackson State University. Do not. No, if you have to leave, take the program with you, but do not take a bad coaching job thinking that you're going to get the same recruits. At Jackson State, you're going to get top-tier athletes, and you're going to be able to compete. You come to Colorado, I promise you, you're going to be fired in 3 years.
And that's that on that. I literally, I don't know.
3 years. I promise. 3 years. They're going to expect Deion Sanders to compete with USC, Victory and Fight On. They're going to expect him to compete with Oregon, UCLA, Utah. Colorado right now is 1-11, I think. They won one game this year, and none of their games were close. I was telling John, my brother, we were laughing because the coach of Colorado they showed one of his speeches in the locker room before he got fired, and he was saying, Vegas got us losing by 55. I know we're not going to lose by 55. We're going to keep it close, right, gentlemen? Not we're going to win the game. Not that we're going to prove them wrong. We're just not going to get half 100 hung on us. That's the culture Deion Sanders is coming to. They're not looking to win the Pac-12. They're not even looking to really compete. And the problem is, you bring in Deion Sanders, you're going to tell everybody, just like they brought in Russell Wilson, like the Denver Broncos are going to compete. Well, they lost again today. They're 3-7 or something. They're trash. And the Denver Broncos is the epitome of what Colorado University Buffaloes are.
You keep asking me this mic talking about sports. No. I have no words.
They're irrelevant.
But on a different note, as far as getting back to representation, if you haven't heard at all, a black woman escaped the basement of a white man's home in Missouri. She ran to the nearest neighbor that she could find, banged on the door till the neighbor answered. When she opened the door, the young lady was draped in nothing but a BDSM outfit, which is tight leather used for sexual activities. And duct tape. She, in her wrist and her ankles were torn up, and she had it around her neck.
Yeah, and this sicko had made a homemade shock collar. Yes. Like for like a dog leaving the yard. Yeah, that happened.
She also stated that her two friends that she was with, he had already killed them. So the neighbor called the police, and the police finally came out and said that he was actually a serial killer. But this is the thing. The black community for months has been saying, hey, we have missing black women. Hey, we have missing black women. Where are all the black people going? Hey, we need help. And literally took not one tip, didn't do any investigation, literally did not help at all. And it took this woman basically escaping, escaping.
No, it's not just escaping. She escaped while this guy was taking his children to school. So this is why the whole don't judge a book by its cover, but also pay attention to where you are. This was not a thing where it was off like in the middle of somewhere. This was in the middle of America, in the suburbs, and this guy was living a normal life while actually living a double. He had kidnapped and killed two, and there was a pastor in KC that said that there are almost something like 9 to 10 women that are missing. And he said it hasn't even been on the news. I don't understand why. And when you sound an alarm like this goes back to what we were saying about the representation. When you sound an alarm like this and say, "Hey, listen, why aren't we concerned with the missing black women like this?" Because if this had been uh, Becky Sunshine, they would have shut the whole country down. There's no way you would have had 9 to 10 white women missing in any major city and nobody say anything. It wouldn't have got to 9 or 10. But the fact that there are 9 or 10 black women missing and we have one saying, "Hey, listen, I literally escaped with the duct tape on my back," that's ridiculous, man.
I mean, they go. How much money do they spend a year in Arizona and Colorado, where people think they can climb the top of this mountain and get lost or stranded or damn near starve to death?
Oh, that happens every summer in Arizona. Every summer in Arizona, somebody goes climbing up Pester Creek mountain. They get stuck, and the helicopters have to come get them. And it's something like it costs you something like when they get that bill from the helicopter ride. The news is out there. This happens as soon as the weather breaks. Somebody says, "I'm going to walk up this mountain." They fall out, they get hot, and the helicopter has to come get them.
See, that's what I'm saying. If someone on a hiking trip can be tracked down, you don't know if they came back, you don't know if they're just spending the night, whatever. But you go through an entire search party at a news outlet. Why are these girls just walking home from school in the mall, just everyday living, get snatched up, and we don't know until their bodies are found, or a situation like this? By the grace of God, she was able to not only get out but to seek help. Remember now on the Jeffrey Dahmer, the little boy was right there with the police, and they released him back into his custody.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That it happens more than it should. And one of the main problems is that the outlets, because I'm seeing a lot of things on social media about uh, kidnappings in inner cities out there in Chicago. Like there are reports that they're just vans just riding up and down the streets, uh, snatching women. There are reports coming out that ladies, be careful out there, that they're leaving fake money on the ground that has toxins on the money. Make sure if you see something like that, you. I'm not gonna ever tell you not to pick up any money because you never know where your blessings coming from. But first, make sure it's money and make sure you be safe. Gloves, plastic bag, or something. Don't just go grab something willy nilly because this is happening. These things are happening. This is not made up, and this isn't a movie. That poor woman, she banged on the door, and the woman who opened the door said that when she asked her, "What do you need?" and she was like, "I just need you to call 911." She was distraught. Like, wow, this just happened down the street from my. I live here, and she probably saw that guy, knows that guy, or has at least seen that guy, because, like I said, this wasn't in some Hills Have Eyes trailer off of the middle of the desert. No, this was the middle of America in the suburbs.
And I can't pull it up fast enough. Just looking at the ratio, and how often, because you got to realize this is reported. When you pull up the statistics about how many missing people, of course, it's going to show a larger range as far as different ethnicities. Because these black children that are being swept off the street, they're not being reported or taken seriously. Just like in Missouri, let me say this as parents. Make sure you are looking out for your children. I know a lot of parents are diligent, but be sure to be cautious because no place is too safe. But moving on. Oh, and also children, though those young adults and up, remember, know who your friends are. Just like Shaquilla Robbins, Shaquilla from Mexico, her friends have been are getting sent back to Mexico to actually stand trial and actually hopefully go to jail there where she has her full justice. But make sure you know who your friends are. If you feel like something's off, talk to a parent, talk to somebody else. Make sure people know what's going on. And as easily as one of your friends can record, you can record too. But moving on, I don't. You got another?
I was
Oh,
I was gonna just say like one of my favorite Martin Lawrence movies, he actually says in the movie, he says, you don't want to go to jail in Mexico. No, nobody want to go to jail in Mexico. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, if you guys ever see Blue Street, where
Oh
Martin
yeah.
Lawrence, he's impersonating a police officer. They stole the diamond, but he tells his crime partner, he said, let me get that rock. Let me get that rock out of you, man. He said, you don't want to go to Mexico. Don't nobody want to go to jail in Mexico. If you're not from Mexico, it's not like a United States prison. If you don't have family or somebody brings you food, you don't eat.
Shut up.
That's the truth. Listen.
I thought
No.
three hots in a cot was standard everywhere.
No. 3 house in a cot, that's the United States. In Mexico, if you don't have family to bring you food or someone in there to share food with you, now you just don't eat. There's no kitchen. There's no chow hall.
So people starve?
To death.
Oh my God.
You won't go to jail in Mexico, man.
The more you know.
Man, you don't want to go to jail in Mexico.
But I want to move on to something that is trending on the tick of talks on TikTok. It's called Icks, ICKS, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I'm raising the question Icks of relationships, because it's usually a brother or sister or boyfriend girlfriend, husband and wife. Is it healthy communication or opportunity for cheap shots? So with the whole Icks thing, they would start recording, say, "Hey, you go first." Okay, well, my ick for you is that you leave the toilet seat up, and you'll be like, well, my ick for you is that you don't cut your toenails. And it'll go on and on and on. And then it'll get to the point where my ick for you is that you don't know how to cook.
Is this like when it says I'm passing the phone, the person I'm passing the phone to doesn't?
Yeah, some similar to that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm.
Listen, I mean, I get what your question is, but here's the thing. If you have something to say to somebody negatively, or they can take it in a negative way, or it's going to come off as a negative connotation, I believe the best way to do that is say it to their face. You don't need social media because your problem is with that person. So you don't have to record, even if you feel that you have to record it because you don't want to see someone hurt. Let's say you want to say something. Then you can just send a video message to that person. There's no sense to embarrass somebody that you really care about.
See, and I'm thinking about it elsewhere because, like, some of these boyfriend and girlfriends, I understand the brother and sister thing or the sister, brother situation. I get that because you're siblings. Of course, some stuff you're just not going to agree with. But to be in a committed relationship with someone and say, I don't like the way you dress, or I don't like the way you smell, or I think you do things weird. I feel like in some ways it's a healthy conversation because some of them were like, "Oh, I didn't know you felt like that," and then some of them are like, "Oh, so that's how you really feel." I don't think it's a good way out of it.
I still stand on what I said. I feel that the healthiest relationship would be family. Like, there's nothing more important than family. There's a difference between blood. Blood makes you related. Family makes you loyal. So if I have a problem with one of my brothers, outside of John and Trap, let's say I have a problem with another one of my brothers. Let's say Suge or the Professor. I'm not going to embarrass them by telling them something. They're going to know, first of all, it's coming from a place of love. But I definitely wouldn't tell them in the presence of a million strangers. I wouldn't do that. If I have a problem, because I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a problem. What I'm saying is, if you have a problem, you claim that you love this person, whether it's your brother, whether it's your sister, whether it's your significant other, you say you love this person. Why would you embarrass them? If you got a problem with it, you should tell them. I shouldn't have to go to social media and wait for a joyous something we're doing that's supposed to be fun and turn it into something mean and then see that it was mean and then post it. Not if I love you. Because even after, let's say we do the whole, whatever you say, X thing, and I see that you say something that's hurtful or I say something back that's hurtful, we can still have the conversation and not post it. So the posting part of it means that you really didn't care anything about it, at least to me. I feel like you didn't care enough about that person to tell them in a setting that was one-on-one. You made it 1 in a million. And I don't respect that. I feel that's a coward way.
Do you feel the same about Facebook posts, like indirect blows?
You already know how I feel about that. You already know. I don't believe in the subliminal messages. You got something to say it. Because if if you are saying something to fix a problem, right? And you post something subliminally and the person doesn't get it, how is that going to fix the problem? You'll be posting something in 2 weeks later. Yeah, so I don't believe in that. If you got something to say, just say it. Stand on it, just like the podcast. You said it, stand on it.
Yeah, because two things you taught me: if it's not directed, it's not respected, and then if it's not helping, it's hindering. So watch what you post or what you repost or what you. And I had to use that. It would have done more harm than good what I was going to repost and what I was going to say. So I just took that down. And then my question: if you could delete, like totally erase anything from the world, what would it be? Now I already put my thought into it. You guys can marinate on it and think about it, but I want to, of course, the type of person I am, I want to cure hunger, poverty, suffering, all of that. Of course, I can't cure cancer or anything like that. But one thing I would delete from the world would be jealousy.
Well, that's noble, but I don't know how that would happen because from the gate, that was the whole thing with Cain and Abel. So that's a whole nother thing. As far as the hunger thing goes, I was just talking to Gregory about hunger in this country, and he posed the question: when's the last time you heard somebody in this country starve to death? So yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's not real. When I worked at Pizza Hut, all of the deep pan pieces are made at like 7 o'clock in the morning. We don't open till 12. So by the end of the night, if there's any deep dish pieces left, we're told to run them through the oven, and the last driver takes like half of those to the soup kitchens, and the rest are given out to the homeless in the area. And they knew this.
Is that everywhere?
I don't know why it wouldn't be. I don't listen. I'm telling you, if okay, in my current job, we throw away literally probably something like 25 to 2,600 pounds of fruit every week. Because when you cut it open and test it, what was tested goes right in the trash. So hunger in this country, like bums are made, not born. This country is going to help. This is not Russia, where you're walking around trying to get a biscuit and a bowl of water that you want to call soup. It doesn't work like that. You go anywhere, any restaurant, especially buffets, they are throwing away pounds of food in this country. Pounds every day. Every day. When you see somebody, I give you a good example. So there's a family that's, I'm gonna say working because it's not. They're working the corners. They have a picture of their family member, or they say it's their family member, and say we're raising money. We need donations because they need brain surgery. And every time I see somebody roll their window down and give them money, I want to go over there and have a conversation with both people. The Hippocratic Oath in this country says that a doctor will not let somebody die. So if you go into the hospital and they determine you need brain surgery that might cost $50 million, you're going to get it. They'll send you a bill. They're not going to just put you out the hospital. They're not going to let you die. They're not. And when you get to the hospital, if something like this happened, which I know it won't, the news will pick it right up. The hospital will probably run right out of business. That's for sure. That's not going to happen. But if that does happen, the GoFundMe will go up and the money will be. You cannot tell me that standing on the corner of my street, you're raising money for brain surgery and think I'm not going to look at you like you're just out here hustling. Because that's what you're doing. You're using human element and you're playing on people's emotions and pulling heartstrings. You got a picture of a guy that's got a full zipper where they've already cut his head open and said, yep, you definitely need brain surgery. And you're collecting greenbacks and dollar bills to purchase a brain surgery. You got no insurance. So out here on this corner, you're going to raise $200,000. Man, the last $200,000 made on the corner, that was Frank Lucas then, man. That's not real. That's not real.
Well, I know since we've been together, my whole thought on helping homeless and panhandlers has turned immensely. Like, I would give my last dollar to someone if they needed it, but I've also given $1 or $2 to someone, and of course, I mean, people don't walk around with cash now. One dude said, yeah, I got Cash App, and the other one said, what in the H am I going to do with $2? And Another thing is, I wish they would go back to paper applications for jobs, because that's what I would tote around. Either that or bags of chips. Hey, you're hungry? Here's a bag of chips. Oh, anything helps? Here's a job application. And it would just go like that. But like I said, if I could delete anything, even though it would go back to one of the first sins, I would delete jealousy, because once you do that, people aren't fighting for money, people aren't fighting for food, people aren't fighting for property. People could have their natural resources and we could all live together.
If I could delete one thing, and it's kind of two part. If I could not remove all disease from the world,
Mm.
all forms of disease, then I want to remove all healthcare bills. If I cannot remove cancer, if I cannot remove AIDS, HIV, if I can't remove like this RP that's
RSV.
RSV that's having these children hospitalized and on breathing machines, if I can't remove COVID, if I can't remove all these things, then I'm gonna remove all the cost to treat these things. Not the things that where they're just giving you enough to keep you healthy to get more money out of you.
Right.
I want to have a healthcare system that is coincides with treatment and healing. I want you to be able to go to the doctor and not get a bunch of pills and still be sick.
What about just removing greed? Because greed, the only reason, okay. So I am currently in school, for those that don't know, and the main reason for the medical practice is, in order to continue to make revenue in medicine, people have to stay sick.
Right.
And they give you stuff to temporarily fix it or to make you not as sick, but in order to make money in healthcare, you have to remain sick. And in order to do that, when people started catching on and started planting their own crops, that's when we started with acid rain, with the pollution. It goes on and on and on. We don't have enough time for that right now. But when you start growing your own food and you start nurturing your own land, that's when it's an issue. Even today, I've been saying this for a while, but even today in church, they talked about how politics is affecting agriculture, how they're telling all of our exports, their governments are telling them to only grow at 10% instead of their usual 90%, and are paying them to grow less, because we are about to go into what did he call it?
Food shortage.
A food shortage. So I don't know when, I don't know how or how fast, but it's going to happen.
That is my whole point. How is it that you can say that we're having a food shortage, but I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating. I no one starves to death, and I'm literally watching 2,600 pounds of food thrown away a day, a day. Like, will there be a food? This seems like the whole conversation we had about loans, mortgages, and business loans. It seems like that this is just another situation to lure over somebody and have control. That's what it seems like. And instead of listening to those that have great ideas, because you're talking about the agriculture aspect of it.
Mhm.
Rick Ross bought one goat, put the one goat on his 20 something acres of land in Florida where he cuts his own grass, and now he reaps all the benefits of agriculture tax exemption because he has one goat. That is one of the smartest things, and that is game. When they say the game is not to be sold, the game is to be told, that is real game. Because we have a lot of people that have a lot of land and they lose it because of not being able to pay the taxes on the property. Just think if your property taxes were cut into thirds because you had a goat. A goat is cheaper than a dog.
You want to move to Mississippi and get a goat?
Negative, Ghost Rider. Next question.
But like I said, it goes back to greed to me. Everything goes back to greed, because if you're not trying to get more than the next person and you want to share more than you take, then no one will go hungry, no one will go broke. But another thing, like you said, you never seen someone starve, but we have seen homeless. Homeless are made. I saw, of course, on TikTok, where this black couple who, from unforeseen circumstances, they both were working dead end jobs in retail and fast food, and they lost their apartment. Their apartment wouldn't renew their lease, so they're living in their car. And not when they're living in their car, they're getting parking citations. When you get parking citations, if you don't pay them or can't pay them, you go to jail.
We're not trying to be funny. At least you have a place to sleep for the night. But I will say this is just an
They were
example.
holding their bumper together with cord.
What?
They were holding their bumper together with cord.
Yeah, see, they got all this fancy court. Here's the problem.
Wow.
Listen, no, in all seriousness, that is being a poor steward with the money. That's what that is. That's being a poor steward with your money. If you're making just enough money to make ends meet, then as a person, you should be looking for something else. You cannot be okay with living paycheck to paycheck. You can't. And if you are, you've already lost. Your mindset should be, okay, this is the start, but this is not where I'm going to finish. I know right now I make just enough money to survive. My goal in the next 6 months is to double my income. If that means taking a second job, if that means using this job as application fodder on your resume, if I have to step up. I cannot just say this is where I am, because if that's where you're going to be, you're going to get what you get. Yes, there are limitations in this world. Absolutely. Yes, there are limitations for black and brown people. Absolutely. But make no mistake about it. You still have got to be willing to have the fight. If you're not willing to have the fight, you've already lost.
And not only that, I know applying and applying and applying for jobs and no callbacks. I get that. I'm there. But also every boss has a boss. So even if you can't find another job outside of where you're working, look within your company. Because even at McDonald's, you can move up to supervisor.
Something. Well, I mean, then you get stuff like the Burger King guy. Never missed a day of work in 27 years, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And for his service, Burger King gave him some movie passes. Not a promotion, not a car, not retirement. They gave you, man, some movie passes. That's what I mean. You should not have been complacent enough to say, I'm going to be at Burger King for 27 years. If you feel that you should have been a manager after 5 years and they're not talking about movie, what you need to do is you need to put in another application somewhere else. Go work at McDonald's. See what they're talking about. Go to Chick-fil-A. See what they're talking about. If you just have to stay in that industry, you got to try. But you've got to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. If that means going back to school and grinding hard, nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. And if you're looking for the easy way out, you're always going to be out. That's just the truth, man. Like the things that are worth something, they require you to put in some work.
And it's never too late to get an education. Education is one thing people cannot take from you. Nope. And I know it's a little bit off subject from the main question, but the things that I want to delete can also render to new expectations for yourself. I don't want greed, so I'm going to make sure that I give. I don't want jealousy, so I want to make sure, that I strive for the best person I can be. So who can I be jealous of?
Speaking of education, shout out to my brother, Batty Brown. Woo! My brother just graduated. Well, I'm so proud of him. When he picked up that bachelor's degree, he's already thinking about enrolling in the master's program. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful family. He's doing so well in life. But he went back to school and he got it done. Can't say more. I cannot tell you how proud I am of him. Proud of my brother Doc. He just got his. Go ahead. Yeah, no, he started his trucking company. Yeah, my brother, he just got his LLC. This is what we need more of. It's not just about how we're spending or how we're making our dollar, but we need to make sure that we're reinvesting in our communities and us. And the good thing about when you say investing in your community, if you are living around brown, white, and black middle-class people, that's what it's going to take to change. That is investing in your community. Those are your people. That's your tribe, man. That's your tribe. Everything that's kin to me is not kin to me. Right. And that goes the other way. That means everything that is so if it looks like me, it might be with me or it might be against me. But you cannot discount those that don't look like me because we're in the same struggle. I saw a white guy that said, there was a TikTok joke, and dude said, man, he said he grew up in a black neighborhood, and the children were saying stuff like, man, you stole all our land, and you just said another. He says, listen to me, man. What do you think I did? I live in the trailer next to you. You think I'm hiding your land in my trailer? You think I have King Solomon's diamonds in that double wide that me and my mom stay in? Man, quit playing. Let's go eat this macaroni and cheese. That was hilarious to me because that is his brother. It may not look like him, but that's his brother.
And I feel like because I saw a TikTok where they had like 5 or 6 people, all of them their nationality is American, and it was a young black lady there, and she was trying to explain, even though we all grew up in America, we all grew up in different Americas, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
And the young white woman stood up and was like, "You're offered the same opportunities I am.
Yeah.
My nanny was black," and I wanted to finish the video so bad, but I was just so taken aback by that. The fact that she compared the struggles of this African American woman to her having a black nanny, it just shows the separation in not only moral values but also common sense. How dare you compare my life and how I grow up in this racist America that we call home and compare it to having an African American nanny?
Well, it goes back to when you said morals. I'm still trying to figure out how 1.9 million evangelicals thought that Herschel Walker was their Christian candidate. Not the pastor, senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist, where Martin Luther King Jr. went. No, not the man of God. Not the real man of God.
No scandals.
With no scandals. We're talking about Herschel Walker, Heisman Trophy winner, woman beater, allegedly, abortion payer, allegedly, bad air, good air, topic discusser, Herschel Walker. I don't understand that. Please get out and vote.
Yeah, that's just about all I got today. What do you got? You good?
That's it. I'm good.
Listen, make sure you leave your comments below. I will tag that Jerry Jones photo as well. Let us know how you feel about critical race theory, any of the topics that we did discuss, any input that you do have at the end. But that's all we've got today. And remember, you said what you said, so stand on it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, have a great night.